Just a quick review. Last week what we did was first we pivoted from the opposite foot, we're going to kick with. Okay. Just like a foot swing. Okay. And then we saw how we could throw it from the hip. So we want to activate that hip first and exaggerate it. Now in training, and that way everyone comes out. Okay. And then we want to combine the two. Okay. So, if you would put that up, just try it. So once I get these two components integrated, then I'm pivoting, and I'm throwing my hip in, I want to start to look at how I can add more power to this. Okay? And whenever we talk about adding power, it's always a matter of how much more movement can we get, how much more rotation, and how much more acceleration typically. We have to work with the mass that we already have. So in order to get full acceleration, we have to take the brakes off that mass. So that's still acceleration when we talk about loosening up and everything else. But in order to get more acceleration without actually trying to throw faster, we use rotation, we use more joints. So the first thing I want to look at is using the shaft of the leg and rotating down the shaft of the leg. So, or as I was taught originally, turning your hip over, another way to word this, another way to phrase it. So when we look at like a traditional Muay Thai kick, they step off. That's exactly what they're doing. They're turning the hip over. And what that does is that activates the leg here and that rotation there. Okay, so it's very similar to rotate with my arm. Okay, and I strike that way. Take it up for a second. So if I want to hit the rotation of my arm, the first thing I can hit with, I can see is my chest, right? And I can start to hit with my shoulder. Okay, and I can look at my bicep. Okay, elbow hit. And then forearm. Okay, all just from the rotation down the shaft of my arm.
You can feel it incrementally get stronger too as you work your way down.
Good, because the lever's getting longer. Right, and there's more mass to work to around.
Okay.
So, it's the same thing. I'm weaponizing my entire arm. The purpose of this drill isn't to teach you to do something that's going to affect it. It's just to teach you how to feel that leg. Because what I want to see eventually is to come in and to be able to do a little bit of damage. And eventually, if you get the smaller component, when you throw it to the bigger component, it becomes here, it's going to become a lot more devastating. So like I said, initially, just walk up to them, twist. And it works the same, right? If I'm here, you see this kind of psychic kind of stuff, right? It's the same thing. You're using, it's not the piston alone. That's good. Okay? That's good. That's better. I'm twist it down. If I'm trying to sweep down, you see this a lot, right? That's okay. He moves his leg. That's better. That's with the rotation. Okay? So understand how much more force you're getting. And it has to do with movement. There's two-dimensional movement. Piston. Two-dimensional. Alright? Three-dimensional. Just that torque. Just that screw. Okay? So practice that. Here. Right? Don't worry about moving them. It's not the point of the drill. Okay? Go for it. Alright. So if I look at it initially, right? I go to kick here. Thigh, off the knee. It's all great. Say a kick. Just off to the side of it. And with my pivot, I start to come in, but if you notice my foot, as I kick here, as I pivot, push my toes around. The minute I turn my toes down, that line of energy starts to go back down into the ground, right? You see that, my foot's dropping. So as I kick here, right? What I want to see is a slower kick, but a little bit of juice in the end. Let's snap down. So kick off the side straight, and then a little bit of juice. Okay, this isn't going to destroy it, obviously. Right? It's not the point of it. The point of it is when you're feeling the target being hit, and you're acquiring this attribute, turning that hip over. Because if I go here and I go, wow, turn the hip over, Dustin's not going to take too many of those before he decides to give up and go home from TV. And it's not really going to reinforce this whole turning your foot down. So now what I want to look at is now integrating, stepping back and integrating everything back into what we were showing before. So as I learn to just pivot, right? So I'm here, we're letting it pivot, and just allowing my leg to sway, right? That sucks, but it's not killer. I'm going to look at putting my hip in, okay? That's much worse, okay? Then I'm going to pivot and put my hip into it. It's much worse, okay? And then finally, I'm going to pivot and put my hip in, and then I'm going to rotate on that shaft. Woo! But that's not the extent of what you need to know to feel that. That's not full power. That's not being whack as hard as I can. But that is just using mechanics, proper mechanics, pivoting, hip, rotation. I want you to look at now how you can take the heel and bring it up and let it fall like a blackjack, slap it, right? So I'm not going to do it. Unless it's killer. But as I come in, it's here, I rotate that up, and then this just falls through. Gravity alone. I can add acceleration to it, but gravity alone is good enough. So if I here, okay? If I target more his feet, his leg, his calf, it's going to be much nicer, so I still don't feel good. But it's going to be much nicer. If I target here, okay, you can see the effect. It just takes his foot right off of underneath him. Right. But we can look at the same kind of motions, though, for other things like sweeps and takedowns. So if I come in, okay, and I really want to take his feet off of him, okay, this helps, but just this alone, just me kicking alone, will take it down. So, I mean, it's not my full ability, my full power, nor is it the full power that say, Richard can bring out, where he has a lot more mass than I do. So, just be aware that you can generate a tremendous amount of power and do a lot of things just by tweaking simple little mechanics. So going back to what I want you guys to do is go back to this. This is going to suck for everybody. Okay? You kick on the inside if you like. That's bad. Yeah. So just keep it on the inside, just for my hip. Okay? Then I want to throw my hip exaggerated as much as possible. Pivot in it. And that's already like really bad.
It's in there.
So pivot and hip, and then rotation. So I'm going to do this nice inside the plasma fine. So hip, rotation, and then. Okay? So what that looks like, kind of speed is, it's all gravity.
too.
Yeah. Well, you can even throw this from here, right? Just be, right? Lower leg, directly on the knee, be thigh. Ooh! Or you can throw it on like here. But here, on the toes, I'm just walking on the heel, right? It's not about the specific tool. We have a very specific technique, right? It's never about that. It's about understanding the mechanics and what you can do with the mechanics. So I can make that a kick, I can make that a stomp, I can make that a sweep. Understand that same mechanic is the same mechanic as a side kick. It's just the vector of force. It's which way am I directing that force? Am I directing it in, shooting, or am I directing it around? Right? One last consideration, what you're kicking with. Shin is most common. I'm not a shin guy. I'm not saying I don't hit with my shin, because I do, but I prefer my foot, and I really prefer my toes. So toes on the leg, not a high chance, not a high probability. It's going to slide off, person moves. Toes in the gut, much different. So I like, be able to stab a surface area, taking the whole mass of my leg, putting it into an area about the size of my nose. Right? So, like I said, just real quick, something to think about. Once you guys get the movements down, then when you go home and play with this, keep your bag. Oh man, toes, that's something weird. Toe, right here. Okay, right?
Oh, yeah.
For fun. If you're like me, you wear stiff shoes in the front.
Not an lecture.
Yep.